for you to make that decision of whether to hold the property, are you then, is there a particular target of equity that says that this is a good deal to keep and hold and then extract that equity and reinvest it?
Well, in a situation like that, because I don't like coming out of my pocket to pay no mortgage, right?
Right.
So in a situation like that, what I would do is, regardless of kind of how much equity maybe in that, I would probably want to basically, for the most part, maybe take out the money that I put in, just so I can recycle that money again. And because I want to keep that mortgage as low as possible, so that I know that the tenant is going to be right there. Exactly.
Okay.
Good enough?
All right. Like that.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll leave you. Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
I got two questions. I got to stand up.
I'm just so I can hear you. That's all.
All right.
I'm standing.
My name is Todd Brown. I'm driving from Brown. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question is like, how do you find a vision for a house? Like, say you get a house and it's kind of jacked up. How do you see what you're going to do with it later? How do you see what you're going to do with it going forward when you have that house?
Okay, good. You asked the second one.
The second one, I'm 18. I just graduated. I don't really know what to do. So could you tell me like any advice for that? That's kind of off topic.
Basically, in a nutshell, if you buy a property, if nothing else, and let's say you buy a 3-bedroom house, right? When you go in that house, you're gonna see the walls, you're gonna see the doors, you're gonna see this, that. It's gonna be jacked up. So for the most part, from starters, you could just renovate that house and just put it back exactly like it was. You don't necessarily have to redesign anything. So if this wall is, sheetrock, if this sheetrock wall is here, but the sheetrock is all busted out, replace the sheetrock, you know what I'm saying? That wall is still there. If this door is here and it's all jacked up, replace the door, that door is still there. So for the most part, in the beginning, you don't necessarily have to change, the layout. That'll definitely come in time with experience. Okay? And you're 18, you just graduated, got your money?
What would you tell your 18-year-old self?
I got a little bit.
Definitely, you're in the right place, right? Continue to come here. That's definitely what you want to do. And you want to surround yourself, with people. You're 18. I think Damon is 40. Derek is 25. You hang out with some of these same people, right? And you start networking, and it's a little hard to answer your questions. But when you start to network and y'all start to see each other's strengths, weaknesses, so on and so forth, you can build from there.
So how long did it take you to get into real estate? I think that'd be a better question.
How long did it take me?
Yeah.
Well, I started, I was 27 years old when I bought my first property. Yeah, so, I was 27 years old when I bought my first property.
How long did you research and learn and network to get to that point?
Say it again?
How long did you have to learn and network to get to that point?
I probably took me probably 2 or 3 years. I probably, stuck my nose everywhere, you know what I mean? Sat, I got as much information that I could, got around people that was doing it, follow, get the interviews that I was telling you about, followed him around. I would go with him to collect rent. I would go with him to do repairs. I would go with him to do everything. And I started to learn, certain things. I started learning the language. And then I was in a position somewhat with a basic understanding, and I restarted and I got my first property.
All right, that's all.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Shanika.
Shanika,
When you acquire your properties, do you put them in your own name or do you create LLCs? And can you talk about the advantages versus disadvantages?
Yeah, years ago when I first started in New York, I did the LLC, and what happened was back then there was just a whole bunch of red tape, and I wasn't making enough money, right, with the LLC. And then one of the things back then that they required, the LLC, they wanted the LLC to be established. They would, go to, Dun and Brad, right? right? And so you would have to get a corporation, you know what I'm saying, and then build it like you would build your own credit. So what happened in my case is, you know, I couldn't wait for all of that. So, you know, I had good credit, my wife had good credit, so I started using, you know what I'm saying, my credit. And eventually what happened was I wound up building what I built just using my name.
How do you protect yourself against liability?
Well, at the end of the day, it boils down to insurance. You want a good insurance policy, even if your own home that you would own that would be in your name. Right, let me come to your house and fall down, girl. Yeah, so at the end of the day, you need good insurance. You need a good insurance. And you need to be honest, because let me just tell you this, right, it's kind of really off the record, but I remember in the beginning, with the insurance companies, you know, back in the day, I would tell them that it was a primary residence. That was because I was struggling, and you know, of course, the investment probably was, you know, rate was higher. And I did that like for a minute, just trying to catch up. I tell you, I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I struggled. You know what I'm saying? I want you to understand the struggle through it. And then what happened was, because that's dangerous. You know what I mean? So I did it for a minute, and then I went like, yo, this is investment property. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, ma'am.
All right, my question is, when you're first starting out, how do you know what it costs to fix up your property? After you get your chef sale, what is a good rule of thumb for a startup investor, and you don't have that much money, but what is a good amount of money to know to set aside once you acquire a property? Or how do you even gauge? Because I remember in your speech earlier, it was like, it's good to buy extra low and have that gap in the middle, you know, it's because you want to make money. But how do you think, because at the naked eye, you may not know how much money to invest to fix it up.
This is where the networking come in. You know what I'm saying? This is where connecting with like-minded people, so on and so forth. Because, for example, if you got with, you know, some of the people in this room, right, and just talk with them about a particular property. And let's take a row home, for example, right? The average row home. The average row home, you know, I mean, without going crazy, it's going to cost you in the neighborhood of $25,000 to $30,000 to renovate. You know what I'm saying? Another thing too is when you start to reach out, you know, let's say to a plumber, you know, carpenter, electrician, so on and so forth. You start to find out from them, like, you know what, this house, and you get the square footage, and all that's public information online. I got a 1,200 square foot house, yada, yada, yada. I need it rewired. What would you charge me? Right? These are the things that you start to do, and you start to learn, and you start to learn that this guy here is trying to pay, you know, like his kids' tuition, you know what I'm saying, with what he's charging, and this guy out here wants to make a living. And another thing, very, very important, when it comes to getting contractors and these guys to do work, you wanna, if you can, if it's all possible, use somebody else that you got confidence has used. You really, really wanna do that. You know what I'm saying? So, and you can find out from them. Listen, I'm an open book. Ask me, yo, you see the house over there? What did it cost you, blah, blah? And that's how you start to learn. Because again, every house is different. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to like just kind of pin down. But that's the kind of, you know, ballpark. I'm sorry, he understands it.
So what's the benefits of doing, and you talk about like some way you can like do it and network to find people that are going to do this. Benefits of like doing like things like wholesaling versus grabbing a property and holding it to, like you said, to like rent property out. And wholesale, I mean like, say if, you know, I'm A, you B, I got a property I want to sell you, I'm tired of living in this house, I want to sell it for $200,000. You know what I'm saying? And you come to me like, okay, I might can find you some buyers around at $150 million, you're going to take that. I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to get it off my hands. Yeah, no problem. Got it 150. Then you go talk to somebody like, hey yo, I got a property, man. It's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I can get it to you for $190, $200,000 crib. Got it for $190 to person C. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm not all the way square on something, so I'm asking the questions. I just know somebody that does it. And now, how do I take to get the contract from you, get and partner onto, I guess, the deed, where I can now have the access to do business with it, to sell it to person C, or you would, I mean, get that and sell it to person C for $190, without you ever putting any of your money up to person B. You help me make I got my house, so, you know what I'm saying, he got his new house, and you got your, with $40,000, it's any different right there, you know what I'm saying? What's the benefits of doing that versus grabbing something and holding it, and I understand, like, I do Forex, so I understand definitely the idea, like, you know what I'm saying, like, sell, like, buy low, sell high, like, really. And so, like, to understand, like, that part, is that better? Cause I said, we also have scalping, and we have, like, things where we trade, we get in, and we know we're gonna hold for days and hours, and things we like, no, let's get it like 5 minutes, 15 minutes, like, in and out, punching, like, you know what I'm saying, big stuff, so. I can understand in my world how that works, lucratively versus different things, so I'm just trying to get how it works in your realm a little bit.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, there's a gazillion ways to make money when it comes to real estate. That's just one of them. And the simple thing is that I'm selling a house, right? So you really don't want to buy, but you want to make some money. So if in this case here, let's say this house is worth, $250,000. Well, let's say that, let's throw that out there, $250,000. And you get me to take, say, $150,000, then you do a contract with me, right? And then what happens is you go find her. You follow what I'm saying too? And then you do a contract from you to her. There you is, right? That's just how easy it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a little more involved, but basically in a nutshell, that's what it is. You do a contract with me, right? And then you do a contract with her. So what happens is that we all are at the table. You follow what I'm saying too, right? You would get what you're supposed to get, and at the end of the day, she's gonna get the house. You know what I'm saying? And of course, I get what I'm supposed to get.
Is that more lucrative in doing that in the beginning, coming into it, versus finding you a, let's say, good solid house that don't take too much renovation and then just hold it for a long time and let somebody build in? Well,
listen, if you do that, you ain't put no money up. You follow what I'm saying to you? So guess what? If you can find those, you're gonna give my number. Okay? No, I mean, you're not putting up any money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's definitely, lucrative. I'm gonna be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? That's, a little more difficult, to do because, why am I going to, allow you to, you know what I'm saying? But that do happen. You know what I'm saying? But how old are you?
26.
26 years old. You remember I bought my first house, I was 27, right? So I mean, my thing to you, because one of the things that if you start acquiring property now, right? You're young. You know what I'm saying? You got your life ahead of you. I'm telling you, you can build wealth over time. And as you age and grow, the equity of that property is going to grow. And from time to time, you can pull money out, just all kinds of different ways to do it. And as you get into the game, right, and everybody, chooses, a different path. Like, for example, I'm so stuck in buying properties cash that I just can't borrow money. You follow what I'm saying to you? But I remember once upon a time when I was doing just that. I was borrowing money. But, I've, of course, reached a certain level, and I buy houses, I buy them cash. And what I do, and again, this is one of my strategies, I'll go out and I'll buy 5 properties, for example. And I will spend $300,000 in buying these 5 properties, renovation, blah, 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 right? Spend $300,000. Now, I'm not gonna leave $300,000 out there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take probably 2 of those properties, I'm gonna sell them, put that $300,000 back in my pocket, and guess what? I got 3 houses that I got for absolutely nothing. So that's one of the reasons why I got, the residual income. Because the houses ain't cost me nothing. The one that I told you about with the $49,000, right? I'm collecting on that particular house, I'm collecting $1,800 a month. On that one house, $1,800 a month. And I actually got the money, that $49,000, I sold a couple of houses and put that money back in my pocket. So there's no mortgage on the house, right? And that $49,000 is back in my pocket. Yes. I'm sorry, let me get one more.
For your houses that you own free and clear, do you ever take out home equity lines of credit as opposed to mortgaging the properties, like pulling the money out, and then that way you can continue to use that home equity line of credit to rehab the properties and stuff like that?
In the beginning, my very first house I bought, I don't know if you heard me say, I actually pulled equity out of that house, used that to parlay, purchase other properties, so on and so forth. And I used to do that, and listen to me, that is the definitely thing to do. But what happened in my case is, I didn't start this yesterday. After a while, right, I'm getting older, I'm 58 years old. I'm not spring chicken anymore, right? And what it is that I just decided I don't want no mortgages. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want no mortgage. I could leave that money out there, this, that, and the other. It's making a ton load of money, so I don't need the money. But if I needed the money to rehab, oh, you bet your bottom dollar. Definitely. Take that money, right, pull it out, do what you need to do. Absolutely. Okay, one thing about, that I like about pulling out the home equity line, the home equity line, you could pull out the home equity line, and what happens is that, I remember the first home equity line, but that was $50,000. What happens is, and I ain't did it in so long, I imagine it's still the same, but I pull out the 50, and they would only charge you based on what you use.
Right.
So based on the deal, if I only needed 10,000, I just pulled out the 10, parlayed the 10, so I'm only paying the interest on that 10. Follow what I'm saying to you? And then when I do my thing, do my flip or whatever, bam, I put it back. You know what I'm saying?
And then you can keep
Keep
using
it,
Yeah.
keep it going. Yes, by all means. Yes, sir.
All right, I'm curious about creative funding in a sense. Different ways to fund deals other than traditional banks. So I own 2 properties now, I live in one. I'm trying to renovate my second one because it's upside down. I bought it and the market messed me up and it never came back. So now I have to rent it. I also have a connection with a guy in Philadelphia with a bunch of off-market properties, but I can't make a move on. And they're real deep, but he wants $10,000 per assigned contract for the house. Yeah, that's the way they make their money. You know what I mean? But they're not, I guess, on MLS, or they're not publicly. So these are things, it's like an acquisition company that's coming straight in and just buying the market, buying everything that's worth something. So I'm trying to figure out how do I move forward, because I think they started talking hard money, and once we started talking numbers, they 75% ARV, this and that, but they want you to have skin in the game, so things change a little bit. I don't know if that's the only resource. I'm scared to go to the regular bank, being that I own 2 houses already. I'm not too familiar with that, so I'm kind of stuck. And I talked to a couple hard money lenders, and you deal with a lot of people, like you said, that say that they're about that life, and you trying to make moves, and you keep finding duds, people who ain't really about that. So I don't know. Other than hard money, I know there's just, he's talking about assigning contracts. That's another way to make money, but acquiring.
Well, just without really knowing any specific, and I don't want to, of course, talk about it.
Yeah.
But just, let me just say this to you, right? And in order to really kind of answer, I need, more information, as you probably imagine. But let me just say this to you. You got to know when to hold, and you got to know when to fold. And that's not necessarily the case here, but at some point, especially if the house is upside down, right, you might want to work away from that.
Yeah.
Again, it's hard to say without really knowing all the particulars, you know what I'm saying? Let me just put this out there. If there's any way that house could just, if you don't make no money from it, and then of course I would want to know where it's located, what's the potential down the road, so on and so on. If it's not making any, and it can just take care of itself, I would let it do that. You know what I'm saying? Even if I had to maybe, give it a little $50 a month, $100 a month, or something like that there. But again, in order to really answer that, I would need more information.
Well, real quick, I will say I did this. I did drop the mortgage. I got a refinance. I got the mortgage dropped. And after talking to a realtor to see what I could rent the house for in that area, being that I saw the market kind of going back up, basically about $400 or $500 profit once
A
I
month.
drop the mortgage a month once I rent it out.
Good
But it's still upside down. That's not
It's still right,
That's
still
not my issue.
right.
My issue is I wanted to get from up under it, but being that I'm upside down on it, and I don't think it's close enough, because I don't want to keep that money because I just bought another house.
Right, but so at the end of the day, you can rent that property and have positive cash flow of
Yes,
$500 a month.
But moving forward,
Uh-huh.
both of these houses kind of depleted my cash.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to get to a point with creative funding. Where can I? Credit is on point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But see, at the end of the day, if the house don't have the value, ain't nobody gonna give you no money. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you know,
To
that's
buy another house?
right. They're not gonna give no. You know, again, listen. The banks will loan money on a property when they know at the end of the day, if you don't pay, they can get their money then some. Right. So if the value is not there, ain't nobody gonna give you any money. So you know, and what I'm hearing is that it sounds like, you know, that you need to probably figure out some other ways to do some other deals outside that to make some money and just collect that $500 a month. That sounds like what I'd be doing if I was in that
That's what I'm
situation.
trying to do.
You know what I'm
Just
saying?
off of those two, I want to acquire more away from that. I know that one, I'm gonna wait for the market to come back up on that, but I'm trying to make the money in the meantime on that house. But I'm talking about acquiring fix and flips and stuff. I'm coming across deals, right? But, like I said, being that my cash has depleted somewhat, I've never done hard money.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's other things that are out. I don't know. I'm just asking, but I'm coming across these deals with more than 30% ROI and like way beyond after the ARV, after I do the due diligence, the comps, everything, and the ARV, and even getting the contractor in there and kind of giving me light rehab, mid, whatever. It's just, I don't know. But like I said, you come across people that they say that they're about it, but they're not about it. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say, what you can do also is find out if you have somebody in your family that would be willing to lend private money to you. Like if a person has a 401k that has enough money in it where you can acquire properties and your investment, you can pay them more interest than what they're making in their 401k. And you just continue to do that.
Yeah, you
You
take
give
a
them
loan.
the money back, they take out a
Like-minded
loan.
people.
You know what I mean?
Like-minded people.
You look for people that you know, that trust you, that know what you're doing, and if they can make more money from, you know,
Giving them money.
investing with you as opposed to 401k or a stranger like he's saying that they may not trust and they may be willing to loan you money that way.
Yeah, I get that. It's just going into a deal, because any house you close on, you know that you gotta bring money to the table. So what I'm saying is that you have hard money lenders that are out there, and you have conventional banking.
Right, private money is cheaper than hard money.
Right.
That's the thing.
That I don't, you know, I know it's
You
easy
need
to
to-
say it, but it's finding.
You need a sidebar because you need some more details.
Yeah.
Sidebar. Yes, Doc.
I just want to know, in regards to the research and the sheriff's cell, is there an opportunity to get into the house to inspect the house?
Good question.
Prior to.
Good question. At the top of this thing, you see it says buyer beware, right? Technically, you don't have access to inside the property, right? Let me just give you a little tip. That if the property is vacant, I've been in plenty of them. You know what I'm saying? Right? I cheat. Okay, that's cheating. I cheat. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, right. Right. As a matter of fact, what I would do, I got a house like right downtown here on East 9th Street that I bought for $21,000. I bought it for $21,000 right down the street from there. As a matter of fact, when I bought that house, back I think 2009 or something, I couldn't get from 800 North Front Street to that property because I was just totally unaware. I did totally lost, and it's literally down the block, right? Literally down the block. And I bought that property for 21 grand, and I done $4 grand in it. So I got a total of $25,000 in that house, and I rented it.
Section 8?
No, rented it cash, $1,000 out the gate. Out the gate.
You know, the local market is like 909 is the lowest.
8 out the gate. And the reason, one of the things too, and I don't know if you guys are aware of the fact that in Delaware, the state of Delaware, the landlord is only required to give, when it comes to appliances, stove or refrigerator, and not both. Did y'all know that? Right. In the state of Delaware, the landlord is only required to give a stove or a refrigerator. Don't have to give both. Where we come from in New York, you gotta give them a stove and a refrigerator. Now, when you say the $1,000, let me just, hold your point. One of the reasons why I was able to get that is because, of course, the Delawarean that moved in my place, she got a stove, refrigerator, microwave, washer and dryer. $1,000.
Let me ask you this. Okay, $1,000 on the east side.
Yes.
On the east side, okay. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many bedrooms, how many
It's a 4-bedroom house.
It's a 4-bedroom
Right.
house. How much is your square foot?
I'm not that top.
The real question is how many working adults live in the house who's paying the bills? That's what we want to know. Like, how is that $1,000
When
for
you're
you?
pricing a 4-bedroom house, I'm like, okay, is it a family with kids? They on the east side?
I'm trying to figure out how you have that.
You know, the city,
Right.
you know,
I'm trying to figure out how many adults in the house who pay that $1,000. They on the other side.
But you put it in the purse.
Yeah, but see,
No, see, the question, she knows the area.
She knows the
So
area,
what
right.
she's saying is, on the east side specifically, I don't care if we got marble in there.
Right.
How did you get $1,000? What she really wants to know about the person that's running it for real.
Well, no,
And
if
how that's
it's
supposed
4
to be.
bedrooms, that may, if it was a.
right, it's a 4-bedroom. Not only that, listen. Right, not only that, it's a 4-bedroom, 1.5 bath, and it's totally detached.
All right, so that's a yard.
Okay, yard, exactly, right.
That's $1,000.
Right.
You know, Compton
Okay.
Apartments, right? You know, Compton townhouses? They're 13 million.
Oh, Lord, Jesus, I mean.
Did I see another hand?
Any other questions? I have a question, I'm gonna take it to the end, but if anybody else have a question? No? So, you mentioned when you were teaching that for Delaware, you like tax liens better. You named 2 other types, I think you said versus foreclosures and something else. Can you go back to that and tell us why? Like, what is it about?
Well, okay. The question is about tax liens. I never did tax liens until I came here. And one of the reasons why is that when you do, everywhere you go, you have tax lien sales. So you got them in New York, you got them everywhere. Delaware, and I didn't learn this until I got here because I did my due diligence. Delaware got one of the best tax lien programs in the country, right? As a matter of fact, what drew me to Delaware is that we lived in Long Island and the real estate taxes are very, very high. I was paying about $12,000 a year where we was living at in Long Island, right? So it's $1,000 a month, real estate taxes alone. So in my travels, I found out that Delaware, the real estate taxes were cheaper. I said, I'm going to Delaware. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of, got here. Then when I got here, initially, as a matter of fact, I was going to open up one of those payday loans. That's what I actually came because I knew that I was going to do some real estate, but I wanted to do something different. So I came here, but at the time that I came in 2008, it was really in the height and the thick of the market crash. People was looking for excuses not to pay their bills. So I knew, as a businessman, you don't want to get into that type of business because that type of business, you really need to have a clientele established already. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to come in that new, because again, at that particular point, people was looking for reasons not to pay their bills. So I go back into tax liens, go back into the sales. What happened with the tax liens, because of the fact, again, I just happened to be in a position financially because of cash. What happens is with the tax lien properties, right, listen to this. Let me just give you some examples. The house that we just talked about for $21,000. Now that house started at about $900. Because what happens with the tax lien, a property becomes a tax lien when, for example, if you don't pay your water bill, the city of Wilmington will put a lien on your house and they will put that house up for a $900 water bill. So listen to this. If the thing makes it to the sale, right, the city can only attach to what you owe them, the auction fee and the legal fee, blah, blah, blah. So that $900 might grow to, let's say, $1,500. So they can only start the auction at $1,500. So if I don't have any real competition, I can buy that house for $1,500. You see what I'm saying to you? So that is one of the reasons why the tax lien sort of attracted me and became very, very appealing. Because I bought all these houses, I bought them. The house, again, like I told you, with the $48,000, $49,000, that house is a $200,000 house. It's a $200,000 house. I paid $48,000, and the reason why I paid that much is because of the competition. I think that house started out with somewhere around $3,000. You see, so with the tax liens, to answer your question, I hope I am, with the tax liens, right, you can get a whole lot of house with a little bit of money. Because again, right, foreclosure, the mortgage, remember, the mortgages are going to be more money, right? So I could spend, again, you know, I think on this particular one that I got here, this little receipt, this particular day I went to the auction, I spent a total of $163,000 cash that day, right? Yeah, $163,000. And these, all three of these, are tax lien properties. And one of these properties here, where I paid $61,000 for, this was a brand new townhouse. The townhouse was 12 years old. And let me just say this to you. And this house had a mortgage on it, right? But what happened is that in the height of the housing crash, basically what happened was, and those of you that work, all depends on what job you work, you know, when things got slow and money wasn't there, so and so, what people started doing, they started laying off people, so on and so forth. But guess what? The workload continued. So even in the bank, right? The bank, same thing. The bank started laying off people, this and that and the other. They started, so now you lay off, let's say, I don't know, 5 people. So you had 10 people doing this job. Now you only got 5 people doing this particular job. You know something? It's gonna slip through the crack. Exactly. You know what I mean? Houses that I bought that had mortgages on them, and after I got the deed, here come the bank. It's too late. $200,000 here, $300,000 there, $90,000 there. And this particular house that I paid the $61,000 for, a townhouse, Macaulay Court. Anybody know Macaulay Court? Right? As a matter of fact, when I bought the house, what's the councilwoman name? Yeah, Stephanie called me up right away because she knew I was an investor. Man, you can't rent this house over here. You know what I'm saying? She called me up, she made it plain because she knew investor, but you can't rent this house. And I said, I got you, Stephanie. And what I did at that time is I just got here and I didn't really, because I'm new to Delaware, didn't know anybody. So I imported my people from New York. So I bought workers from New York. And that townhouse, it was 4 stories, I forgot 3 bathrooms, whatever it was. And I moved my guys in there. So I flew guys in from Puerto Rico that worked for me, guys from New York, and they stayed in that townhouse. Follow what I'm saying too? I ain't rented, so I ain't violating nothing. I use it to my advantage. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah. The other thing was, the 3 things was, it's a tax lien, it's a mortgage, and the other thing is a judgment. So that was the 3. On the handout, the one that only had taxes on it, but usually it's 3 categories.
He was saying that compared to, I think you said foreclosures and something else.
It's
like
judgments.
taxes,
It's on there.
Okay.
Yeah, the foreclosures is mortgage.
And one of the things again about the tax lien is that any lien against that property, with the exception of a federal lien, right, gets wiped out. Gets completely wiped out. So again, I bought plenty of houses with mortgages on them, and guess what? The bank lost the mortgage. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why I like it because I'm getting a whole lot of house. You know what I'm saying, for a little bit of money. Yes, ma'am, in the back there.
No, it's for you, but what is the rate? What is the rate? Well, can I ask you, one of the things you had mentioned about the tax lien properties, as long as that you're showing progress, they forgive the vacant fees.
Yes.
So is there a particular deadline, structured timeline, or what's their expectation of the work?
Basically, they're reasonable with that. So normally you would say take out a work permit. A work permit is normally good for a year, right? So they really expect you to get that work done in a year. If for whatever reason you can't, you do an extension. But as long as they see, and you're gonna know the inspector in charge of that particular area, yeah, because he's gonna be knocking at the door. You know what I'm saying? And as long as they see that you're making progress, the place is not sitting for months and months and what, right, you'll be fine. Yes, ma'am.
Why would they, I got two questions. If you pay the taxes, you don't have to worry about the mortgage. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. Because what it is that it's not that, just understand this here. It's not that you're paying the taxes. It falls under tax lien.
If you pay the taxes.
No, right, you pay, right. Whatever you win that bid at, that's what you pay.
Right, and you don't have to worry about a mortgage.
You don't have to worry about a mortgage, right?
And it's all yours.
It's right.
And so what was that? After 90 days. What was the woman's business?
After 90
Why
days.
you said you couldn't rent out at McCullough Place or something like that?
Oh, because in Macaulay Court there is a subdivision,
Oh.
and they have a deed restriction.
They can be investment properties?
No, the deed, they can't stop me from buying it, but the deed restriction says that you can't rent it.
Rent it.
You follow what I'm saying too? Right. I mean, to be honest with you, because it was, first of all, I didn't need to rent it. That's number one. I used it like I said I was. But at the end of the day, if you like that place because it's beautiful, anybody know those houses are beautiful. One car garage downstairs and all that. If I was gonna rent it to you, you wanted to, I could have easily told you to say, listen, you my cousin, right? You know what I'm saying? And anybody asks you my cousin. I mean, come on. So, yeah. But it's the deed restriction saying that you can't rent. So she was making that crystal clear to me. Yes, sir.
You said you imported guys in from Puerto Rico. Like, how long do it take for you to do like a full rehab?
Oh, it all depends. I mean, I can do a full rehab in a couple of months. You know what I'm saying? But what happens is, and this is something you learn over time, is that initially, like the massive work is normally like the demolition, like if you saw when I did the demo, that was what, it's like time consuming, blah, blah, blah. So what happens is that I'll start a project, let's say depends on what it is, I'll start a project with 5, 6, 7 guys, right? And then as the project progresses, I'll pull them off, send them somewhere else, so on and so forth. So, and the thing is that I'm moving. And one of the things, and this is something you just learn over time, and something that me and Damon do all the time, and that is that I can put together a crew in no time at all. When you put together the crew, one of the things that I always do, and I build it in, right? And they love to work for me, because I buy them lunch every day. You know what I'm saying? I buy them lunch, right? So listen, I mean, you'd be surprised. A sandwich and a soda go a long way. You know what I'm saying? And I don't need to do a sandwich and soda. I go to Kentucky Fried Chicken and get a bucket. You know what I'm saying? $25 or something like that there and feed 10 people or whatever it is.
So
right?
You your own GC.
My own GC, yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned earlier about having a plumber, electrician, something like that you can talk to and get the pricing. Can you talk about the importance of making those relationships in different ways, like things like this, like how we got this today, everybody can talk to everybody, find out what their niche is or whatever. Those same type of environments for finding, like you said, plumber, electrician, mason, and find that right person that you can build that relationship with. So it's like, all right, now, bro, this is our 7th joint we did this year. I ain't even got asked. I know you got me. You know what I'm saying? And how, like when Ron asked about you doing it, and you say maybe 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Before you actually bought your first house at 27, you said 3 years before you was doing your networking, doing what you wanted to, your hustle.
Right.
How did you do that in that time, hitting those spots to build a relationship with those, like I said plumbers, people you need to get those?
Okay, because what I did was I started, of course, in this case here, the individual that I consider like my father, right? He had guys working for him. So guess what? You know what I'm saying? Right? I started talking with those guys, you know what I'm saying? And then because of the fact that they kind of associate us as sort of being like father and son, blah, blah, blah. And then there's nothing for a guy like me that's been in the game to pick up the phone and say to electrician so-and-so, what's your name?
Puppet.
Puppet?
Yes.
I need you to take care of Puppet. I need you to go over there and see about, you know what I'm saying, to take care. So it's about building relationships. So once you start to network, and again, you surround yourself with people that's doing what you want to do, right? And one thing in this game, we share. I don't own the plumber. I don't own the electrician. You know what I'm saying? All I say, because of course, I'm not going to send anybody your way, right? Unless I got confidence in that you're going to do the right thing. Because guess what? My name is on it. As a matter of fact, when I send somebody, guys, you see guys come from New York to work for me? I call guys right now. They'll get on the turnback and come to work for me. And that's because they know that they're gonna leave with their paycheck. Very, very important. And guys know that if I send them across town to do your job, if you don't pay them, guess who's gonna pay them? I am. Because I'm not gonna allow you to mess up my relationship with them.
So, answer the question.
Any other questions? No, you guys are good? No more questions. You gonna wrap up with something, Mr. Brown?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Did I tell y'all this is my first time doing this?
No, you skipped over that.
I've done plenty coaching and but this is my first. So y'all help to actually bust my cherry. It's my first. So thank y'all for being kind. And I think I might do it again. I was wondering whether I was going to do it again, but you guys have been great. I would definitely do it again. Thank you. I got one more thing. Did you guys learn anything? Show of hands. Show of hands. You learned something? That's what I'm talking about. That's all that matters to me.
I just want to wrap up. First, I want to say thank you so much, because I understand like sometimes when you do something for the first time, there's a little fear there. And thank you for lending your dad. I appreciate
Of course.
you. Thank you for lending your husband. I appreciate you.